After a big downturn last year, film and TV production in Chicago is looking up. Later this month, The Chi returns to Showtime for its fourth season. Add to that the well-established Dick Wolf Productions and a new show called 61st Street produced by Michael B. Jordan. And 2021 looks to be a banner year. Joining us to talk about the state of film production in Illinois are Kwame Mwadwu, the director of the Chicago Film Office, also Peter Howley, director of the Illinois Film Office. Welcome to the both of you. Now, Kwame Mwadwu, when we last spoke to you in the fall, obviously 2020, brutal for so many industries, including the film industry, but you were optimistic about 2021. Has that panned out?
Absolutely. I think it's been better than we've expected. Production has reached, it's beyond pre-pandemic levels right now. And I think that production is doing very well.
Beyond pre-pandemic levels. You don't hear much of that these days. So what are some of the highlight projects?
Well, there's several projects going on. Oh, Peter, go ahead.
Hi, Kwame. No, I mean, there are a bunch of things. Of course, the Dick Wolf shows in the NBC family, which is actually just wrapping up this week, their season. But we're really excited about some new shows. We've got an HBO pilot that was filmed here before the pandemic. They were picking up the series in the western suburbs starting this summer. We've got Paper Girls, which is also in and around the city and in the suburbs as well. And, Force and a whole bunch of new shows that weren't on our radar when the pandemic started, and they all came back, and these new shows started up in the fall and now in the spring, and it's really exciting times.
So perhaps lots of creative juices flowing, but also a whole lot of recruiting, I'm sure, goes into that. So, Peter, let's stick with you. Can you remind us of the work that the Illinois Film Office does to facilitate bringing productions to the city?
Well, yes, one of the things we do, and this is really the driver for productions, is the film production tax credit. Governor Pritzker signed an extension to that tax credit 2 years ago, and the film production tax credit now goes to the end of 2026. And that is really what gets the productions here. Then the rest of my office and Kwame's office does the same thing, is we're film friendly. We try to help filmmakers find locations, studio space, on the ground stuff. And that's what we do. And luckily, Chicago and Illinois is a great calling card. I mean, we have a great skyline, we have great crews. Our union crew base is terrific. The infrastructure here is terrific. As you know, Center Space is expanding. And a lot of the selling of Chicago is done just because of all the work that's gone before us.
Chicago sells itself a bit. Kwame, anything that you want to add there in terms of what attracts productions to Chicago and, frankly, the rest of Illinois?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons in front of and behind the camera. There's tons of talent. Like Peter mentioned, we have great crew base here. We have great in front of the camera talent. So you don't have to bring in a lot of the day players and a lot of those actors to fill those roles. We have great film schools here that provide a great workforce base. We also have a great diverse workforce here that attracts a lot of projects that want a diverse crew. So that's a big, selling point for us, not to mention a variety of locations, not only in Chicago, but just in the surrounding area, where you can have, in one instance, you could be in a cornfield, or you could be in a highly urban environment, or a beach, or in the woods. So it offers a lot of versatility for productions. There's just a lot of good reasons to film in Chicago.
Geographic diversity, and I do believe that state tax credit also gives further incentive if some of the hires come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. So a further, perhaps, attraction there. But of course, we did just come through, well, heck, we're still in a pandemic. Can you speak to some of the rigorous safety protocols that are in place right now, and in particular, the role that Fargo had in kind of kickstarting some of these productions? So let's start with you, Peter.
Well, Fargo was our trial balloon. Last June, Governor Pritzker let production go back to work on a limited basis first, but that was still the end of June. And Fargo came back in August. And we've said this, both Kwame and I have said this quite a bit, that production, they had 2 episodes to finish, and that production went off without a hitch. And that really opened the door for the Chicago shows to come back. And then we had a bunch of pilots last fall, a Disney holiday film shot here last fall. But just the rigor that especially Fargo did to start with really allowed production to come back. And it showed that Illinois was doing it well and doing it safely. And I think that was another reason we've got so much more production here in the spring of 2021.
So Kwame, what of that? What are some of the safety protocols and procedures that are in place?
Well, you know, when the pandemic work stoppage happened, there was a lot of scrambling behind the scenes from industry stakeholders, health departments from both the state and the city, unions. They all came together to develop these protocols for working safely. And it's been amazing the successfulness of this program, where they almost put different sections of the crew in bubbles. So you have an A group, a B group, a C group, with the A group being the group that's near camera and where actors have to perform without PPE. And you have testing going on sometimes 3 to 5 times a week for that group. And then you have the other groups where there's, other systematic testing. So I think their testing, contact tracing protocols resulted in test positivity rates that were far below the local average, the national average.
Hopefully those tests weren't those nasal swabs and instead maybe a saliva one, because ouch. Now, could Illinois, do we think, Peter, be seeing additional production coming to Illinois, particularly as you're looking at places like Georgia, where there's an industry boycott? I think Will Smith moved a production out of there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Illinois is well positioned to take advantage of these states that have, the restricted voting rights acts and other, more conservative laws than Illinois does. I mean, Illinois is one of the most progressive states, thanks to the governor and some of his initiatives in the country. And I think Hollywood in particular responds to that and would look to place shows and productions here in Illinois as opposed to some of those other states.
And I'm afraid we will have to leave it there. A lot going on, especially with a huge expansion of sound stages at CineSpace. Much appreciation to each of you, Kwame Owaku and to Peter Howley. Appreciation for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.